We engage in authentic conversations about our weekly entrepreneurial goals while exploring business, failures, success, and personal growth.
We're going to continue to work and get better at this, so thanks for tuning in.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Our vision will highlight a diversity of guests who are creatives, industry leaders, and individuals creating positive change within our communities. Join us on the Our Vision podcast.
Our shared journey to become better humans.
It's not only our vision, but it's your vision too.
FSU. Welcome, everybody. So, brother, what have you been working on?
I've been working on time management.
You have?
Trying to get our second property. Got approved for the home loan.
Right. So we're looking at
success.
I was surprised how quickly she set up our showings the other day.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Oh, she's on it. She's on it.
Within 5-10 minutes, we had a response back when we were going to go look. So we're starting to look. That's been fun. It's exciting to start to look again. So yeah. So time management though. I've been watching you. You're waking up earlier than I am. Your schedule is different. You're exercising in the morning a little bit. And I've noticed the difference in your, I'd say, demeanor almost. Energy level maybe.
Yes.
Has been a little better. That's been one benefit I've seen out of your schedule. Is there anything else that you're seeing because of scheduling?
What's helping for me is blocking out my time throughout the day with my time management. So when I get up at a certain time, and I haven't been perfect with that, but it's roundabout.
You have been
the time I get up.
You have been honest about it though.
Yes.
Like you're not like misleading yourself saying, I'm accomplishing it.
So some days I wake up a half hour late. Some days I get out of bed an hour late, but I still stay on track with my schedule, with my block time.
You said the other day you were able to catch up because you had something to anchor yourself to it. So you woke up late, but you still were able to accomplish the things you wanted to. You got back on track throughout the day.
Yeah. So what's been huge for me, and I've never really done this in the past. Like when I used to work out in the past, it would be after work. But now I get up, do my breakfast routine, then I get to my fitness and exercise.
Right.
Whether that be riding a bike or doing like calisthenic workouts.
Right.
So I'm keeping it simple, but it's made a huge difference with my morning routine and getting into work.
You said something about simple just now, and I think that's true with me too. Mine were real simple starting off because I've set some new personal goals, not just with what we're doing with the business, but I need to do some physical health things for myself. And I did keep mine simple because I kind of wanted to have that feeling of, like that I accomplished it. And then it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to, climb out a mountain. So, but anyways, yeah. So I think that's key too when you get started because I felt good about it this last week. I was able to hit all 3 of my yoga classes. I did 3.5 hours. I did 3 hours and 45 minutes and I was supposed to do 3 hours. So I exceeded that. I failed on my bike riding. I only did that one time, I think, but I did start working on the video project too. So they're small goals, but they do feel good that you're actually laser focused on them. And it's helpful, right? It feels good. I don't know. To me, it feels good.
How's it helped you?
Well,
with what you're doing?
I noticed my body just in 5 classes of stretching already feels better. So I noticed even when we're doing other things, like today I was doing some housework around here and I felt better, like bending over and doing things. So that's been good. I've had less pain, which is another benefit. And the other thing on the video project is it's making me, it's allowed me to be more creative and start to look at different shots and lighting. And now I'm exploring different formats of video and how I might piece that together later for the project that I'm working on. So that's been kind of fun. So like when I'm out and about now, I'm starting to look at shots different because I haven't been picking up my camera much unless I'm being paid. And I talked to you a little bit about that. So now it made me think, I want to do things just because I want to do them again. Because that's really how I ended up in this business of doing video work and photography work and things like that. Is because I enjoyed doing it. So I want to get back to that. So that's what it's done for me is like feel more enjoyable doing it. I don't know.
And I know you've kept it simple for yourself. Where do you plan to take that down the road?
Well, I think after this quarter or even during this quarter, I think the scheduling needs to change for me too. So I might be thinking more about how I might schedule my day out. based on work and personal life. So I think that's where it's going to take me, is to tighten that up a little bit. Because I think that's really important. And I just see in the 2-3 weeks that you've been working on it that it's improved. It's improved things for yourself too, I think. Yeah, so I know it's improved. It's helped you out in certain areas. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to ask you like how that was going, and if there's any like if you felt bad when you weren't making it too. That's the other thing I come across sometimes. I feel a little guilty when I'm not hitting my goals.
We pretty much started this week, right?
No, it was
we kind of did last week, but there was a rescheduling of.
Yeah, there was 2 weeks we joined an accountability group, and we were talking about setting goals with this group. But it's been 2 weeks now. So, but yes, we had another meeting, and he kind of ramped it up and had us do some other things. So
for me, I kind of, I hit it hard this week, but I did have some failures. So like not getting up exactly when I wanted to, towards the end of the week, I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, especially Friday. I didn't hit my goals on Friday. Some I did, some I didn't. Right.
Did you think of why? Because that's what I started thinking this morning. I started awake. I'm like, I didn't hit my bike riding, and we ended up, the weather got nice. So I shifted and was doing more social stuff. And so, that's going to be a balance for me too, is like, I have this goal of riding my bike, but if something social comes up, am I going to skip my bike ride? So I got to look at that too and see if I really want to ride a bike. Maybe that's not what I want to be doing. I don't know. Cause I wasn't very motivated to hold to riding my bike. I was more motivated to go do something social.
Remember what Justin mentioned in our last meeting too. When you set yourself a schedule, you hold to it. That way, if somebody tries to pull you away from that, you already know that you have to
you have to
accomplish that task.
Well, and I chose to just do what I wanted to do instead of what I had task driven. So I got to relook at that and see, because I am more social, and I don't know if the riding the bike is going to have more value than being more social, because that does two things for me psychologically. I feel better when I'm more social, and two, for business, for us, I think it makes more sense for me to be more social, especially with COVID lifting and everything like that. So I need to relook at that.
Here's the thing to think about. How could you readjust that so that you are hitting your fitness goals and also your social goals? Because I know being, your social butterfly personality, like you need that.
Yeah. And it's important. And we haven't had much of that. So you bring up a good point though, is like, how do you readjust that? So it might be a different time slot that has to happen in. All right. And so I'll have to look at it and readjust. But we've been talking about this when we started the podcast, is like failure is adjustment, right? So you figure out something, you try something, it doesn't work. You're going to fail all the time. And we do. I mean, and I'm trying to get over that feeling of like, I don't know, feeling guilty that I didn't hit it. But I think there's a part of that motivates you too when you feel a little guilty about it. So I don't know. It's a hard one to adjust to. But so I just wanted to ask you how that was going, because I know you're tweaking things and trying to improve it, or you're noticing the differences. So, and I know you took your bike out for at least one ride.
Yeah. So throughout the week, I wanted to bike more, obviously, like 3 times a week.
Right. And we had bad weather, rainy.
Switched it up with calisthenic workouts instead. I could have rode yesterday, but I didn't, which was Friday. Or no, 2 days ago, sorry.
Yeah.
We're on Sunday.
Yeah, we're on Sunday already. Yeah. Saturday, we went out to I should have done it yesterday, but we ended up getting invited to go out to a brewery that's out in Catawba. What is it? Twin Oast. Oast.
Yes.
Okay. And that's a gorgeous piece of property. It was perfect out. We sat there. So you trade things sometimes. And that was what Justin and I we were all talking about, is like holding to it. I don't know. Last night had a lot of value to me, just sitting out there and being outdoors, because we haven't done much of that, over the winter. So I'm not going to kick myself too hard for trading to go.
Yeah. But what were your plans for the weekend? Do you have something else?
Oh yeah.
The biking was planned at that time?
Yeah. So I do, I fell off the wagon, for the biking this week. So that's the way it worked.
But that was more valuable to you.
To me, it was
going out and meeting with people than riding your bike.
The conversation sitting there, it was better, mentally.
So maybe you should hit that in the morning.
Yeah.
Like what I'm doing.
Yep.
I do notice a big shift in energy though. doing that in the morning.
Yeah. Well, so maybe that's what more likely to accomplish it if I do it in the morning, if there's not, because most of the people we know are active, start to become socially active later in the evening. So that might be a better use of my time if we can do it in the morning, and then my evenings are free. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to talk to the group about that this week and readjust that and see if I can improve it.
So Friday I was a little disappointed, but Thursday and Friday I was feeling a little low those days, and it could have been due to the weather and maybe just being drained mentally.
Well, the weather's been up and down, so I think it was rainy those days. We get a nice day, and then it's cold for 3 days, and we have sleet, and so it's been. So
I was a little down in the dumps those 2 days, and that's kind of where I fell off the wagon, especially Friday. But on the weekends is where I hold it open to social things.
Good, yeah. Man.
And if I'm not doing anything, like it could be with friends, family, anything I choose to do in my free time, or I could, if I don't have anything going on, I can dedicate it to working on something, getting closer to accomplishing
one of your previous
goals.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Or our mutual goals.
Yep.
So,
right. That's awesome. Yeah. So we were coming back from the drive from Twin Oaks last night, and I don't think you'll mind me bringing this up. It's like your conversation, one of the things you want to get better at this year is conversation, right? Conversation skills. And you've seen a difference in that already since we started the podcast and doing some things you noticed last night.
Yeah.
A little thing. And we don't have to go into great depth on it, but if you want to, that's fine. But if not, it's okay too.
No, I mean, around new people, everyone there, except for your friend.
Right.
You
don't know.
Had never met them.
Right.
So it's kind of an awkward situation for me a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I'm sitting around all these new people.
Right.
I have no clue who they are, never encountered them. And
highly uncomfortable.
And a lot of them are older than me too.
Yes. And highly uncomfortable in the past. That situation would have been
not always. It just depends on the situation and how I'm feeling that day mentally.
And the people too. I think too. The people were they're relaxed. They're nice. That makes a difference.
Or with new people, I would have a more difficult time holding a conversation longer. And I noticed from doing this podcast, it's helped me continue a conversation rather than having mental blocks and ramping up my anxiety.
And I wonder if the time management and spending more time on your physical self and your meditation, because you've been doing some meditation too.
Yeah.
I wonder if all those, I'm sure
I hit all my goals on meditation.
Yeah.
And was able to do extra meditation.
There you go. And you explored a different type of meditation under somebody else.
At the end of the week on Friday, actually.
Yep. So I wonder if some of those things play into role, brother.
I think they do, because
as far as conversation, making you more grounded as an individual, you know what I mean? I don't know. It would help me.
I need to calm my mind. I have to.
Right.
So I think it helps me, but I think I'm really going to notice after I've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. This is just a start, right?
Just like with anything, like when you start working out, you don't see results right away. It's down the road is when you really start to notice a difference.
Long-term benefits. But even in the short term, but I want to say in the short term with stretching has made a huge difference already. Just five classes, spending 5, 6, 7 hours. To me, that's very short term for doing it. And I think I needed to go farther, but just that, having that experience now has been good. The other thing it opened up to, was taking a class in one of the studios around here does a open way yoga they have some other people that they do bike rides on Monday, and then they do kayaking in the summer. Man, we talked about this last year because Mark took me out, my buddy, and went to this natural preserve area, and we went kayaking together, and I'm like, man, I really want to buy one of these.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking about doing that this summer, is buying one of those. So that would be physical and social.
Right? I'd like to do those things with you too.
So I want to look, but the problem I'm having is the vehicle that I have is an Impala, and they're long. So I want to see what the shortest one is I can get for myself, because I'm kind of a small guy, right?
Kayak.
Yeah. And still so I can transport it, right? Because that's the part I'm having trouble with. I don't want to put it on top of my Impala and scratch it up. I'm kind of short. So you know what I mean?
Can you mount anything on the top of that?
You can.
Do they have rails where you can?
do. But I'm short, and I don't really want to. Yeah, and I don't want to scratch my car
that.
up and everything. I'm not real materialistic, but I don't want to ruin my car.
I think they do make hitch hookups.
I'm looking at the hitches. I haven't found it yet, but I'm thinking because that trunk is so long. But anyways, more importantly, social and physical.
Yeah, I wouldn't give a shit if you used my vehicle to throw it in the back.
We could do something like that too. So I want to start looking at that because I think that'll be. We live in such a great area for that. We really do. We've got some nice places to drop in around the lake here.
Yeah.
So it's great. Yeah, just working on our schedules. I think you asked me. That's what I'm going to work on. So increase as I have these successes and failures. I'm going to increase it and move on and start to put a framework in. And I think that'll be very helpful for me. I see the benefit of having a schedule that's designed for health and creativity and business and work and family and paying attention to that. So you're not getting, off balance. We talked about that in a couple other podcasts, right, Brad? It's real easy to get off balance. And I'm not going to drop anybody's name, but I was on a photo shoot hired this week for a state college and local college. And I asked one of the individuals, like, what are you doing for fun? And they just stopped. And you could see it. Like, the balance wasn't there completely. And I think a lot of times in life you have to have, you have to make time to have fun. So that's what this has done for us too, is to be a part of this accountability group. We've scheduled things that we enjoy too. So that's the benefit that I'm seeing for myself also.
Yeah.
Make time, man, to do things you enjoy. Life is short. And I know that sounds cliche, but it is. Like, you can wake up 5 years from now and you say, oh, I want to go kayaking. And you say it for 3 years and you don't take any steps to buy the kayak, research it, get the hitch, do the thing. You know what I mean? And like, you wake up 3 years or 5 years later and you haven't been kayaking. Right. So I'm excited to explore that.
The big thing with everything that we're doing is just for that reason, to enjoy our lives and live.
Right.
Instead of being stuck to, wasting our lives away working for somebody else. That's how I feel.
That's how you feel. And I agree with you.
It's not all that, but that's a big part of why we're doing it, because we want to free up time to be able to enjoy life differently. Investing.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think even if you work for somebody, you should still look at your schedule. Yeah, the company has you for 8 or 10 hours a day, but there's 168 hours in a week. You have to look at, how are you going to spend the rest of your time? And are you using that time in a way that's providing, enjoyment? Most people get stuck in front of the television, right? Now I do watch television, but we're here, it's hardly ever on during the day. And it's usually late in the evening by the time it comes on. We don't waste much time with that. Some people enjoy that. I get it. But if you've been doing that for years, maybe you want to switch. Just try something different. You know what I mean? Like, if you're watching 5 hours of TV a night or 4 hours, like, switch. Take 3 hours and use it for something else and just see if it provides something better for you. And it may. I think it would. So I don't know where I'm going on that, but I think that's important too, because I was thinking back a couple of years ago, Brad, somebody said, do you even have a job? Because I go to the lake every year when it starts getting like this. Tonight I want to go see the sunset. And I go for 2.5 hours and sit near the lake. One guy was like, because I take pictures of them, photos. And the guy's like, do you even work? I'm like, yeah, I just choose not to sit in front of the TV. I go to the lake, and I enjoy that. So switch it up a little bit, I guess, is my point. It's like, try a schedule, even if you're working for somebody. So yeah, but you're right. That's why we're doing this, to enjoy life, to have more control over our time. The investments are going to provide that.
More to enjoy life and to choose what we want to do.
Right. Yeah. And so the property you brought up, I'm super excited that we talked about having the first one by this year, the second one by the following year. We're within that parameter, right? Because we just moved in here 6 months ago. So we're looking at the next one. And we're also looking at possibly putting together a third one, maybe, with somebody that's willing to invest with us. So we are staying on track with that. And I find that to be exciting. And I know there's people out there got 80 doors and 100 doors and 1 billion doors and whatever, but that doesn't matter to me. It matters that what we plan on doing for us. And it seems like we're holding to it. I don't know. You feel that way, right?
Yeah. I mean, we got to that next step,
right,
with getting that loan approval.
Right.
So now it comes down to finding the second place.
Right.
and then the sheriff's sale in May.
Yeah, May 10th, and we haven't.
So that could be a third.
We're running
maybe a second if we
Right.
don't find the third one with a loan yet.
Right.
Or
And
the
we're-
second one with a loan.
We're looking at comps on that too. We want to make sure, but I think I'm about right on the comps. I think the sale looks like it's going to be a pretty low sale, and I'm within 50. I think it's between 50 and 65,000.
It's within that zone because that's exactly what I was thinking.
Right.
Something like that would be
Yep.
around that ballpark range.
So I went through and looked at the comps, and I think that's where it's at. But we're trying to get a professional to look at that with us to make sure that we're right in our thinking on that. So that's exciting, right? And so our meeting came up too early. I know we talked about that in several episodes back. We talked about turning this possibly into an Airbnb. We put the paperwork in, and we didn't think it would be until June. The meeting's going to actually be on
The city commission meeting, zoning commission meeting.
Yeah. So that's the 27th. That came up quicker than we thought.
Yeah, we were expecting that. Would you say June or July? I was thinking.
I was thinking farther
because it said about 4 months, 4 or 5 months.
Yep. 3 to
Something
4.
like 3
I
to
think
4.
Yeah. So that came up quicker than we thought. So we're excited about. So we're looking at zoning this as residential business, which in our community, that's the other thing too, is, we're looking at how we maximize revenue on these places so that we can get to the 5th and 6th and 7th and 10th property, I hope, down the road. And part of our plan is that if we can pull X amount of revenue above what traditional renting would be on short-term comparative, right? That'll leap us into getting these next properties that we want. So we're living very frugal and trying to move forward on those.
What I'm excited too for, and I've been thinking a lot about this with property investing, is it feels good to improve your community.
Yes.
In the way of life and living.
Right. Yeah,
because
I'm excited about that too.
All these properties that landlords let go to waste, they just sit. They don't invest money into them to have good living spaces.
Well,
for
even
the
on
people.
our street, we have 2 or 3 units on our street that are empty,
and it feels good.
So it's nice
to
provide
be
housing.
a part of that,
Yeah.
and to see other people getting involved in that too.
I agree. I totally agree.
Because
with that.
even if it's low income housing, you should still have a nice, decent, comfortable place to live, not in some old, outdated, depressing, like falling apart property.
Right.
We see a lot of that.
Yeah, we did see that when we walked through many of the properties. They were and it isn't because people are living poorly. It's because the houses were not maintained in a way that was, and I would argue even they're unsafe. I mean, we walked through some that were unsafe. The second story level was unsafe. The wood was let go and rotten in certain areas, things like that.
But what bothers me is like you have people making money off of other people.
Yeah.
That are paying for your mortgage essentially.
Right.
Why aren't you taking some of that and putting it aside and investing back into them?
Yeah, you should have a capital account.
That bothers me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when the gutters are falling off the house and the window screens are all out and the windows are so bad that they're putting up black plastic, you're not putting your investment back. You're not taking the money that you took out for 14 years. And we can see it. You go to the Otter site, they've owned the house for 14 years or 17 years.
And they're paid off.
And they're at zero.
Yeah.
And you're not putting anything back in it. You're letting the soffits rot. You're letting
you have to get fined before you start investing anything into it.
Yeah. So it's disappointing, but live and learn, and that's not how we want to operate in business.
So it feels good to be doing this too. So
that's a good benefit. Yeah, and I like the community we live in. I like the changes I've seen, and I feel good about where we're at right now. So I like this area. Yeah. So schedule that's going forward. We're still working on video production and some things there. I know you started scripting something out for our own commercial that we're going to do.
The promotional video.
So that was part of your scheduling block to work on stuff specifically for that.
I want to pick up at least a client a month, a project a month. And we're getting work this month. So kind of reach that goal. But I want to keep that. It's very low goal for business. But there's been months where we haven't gotten any work.
Right.
So I want to keep pursuing that and give myself and ourselves.
Yeah. So we look at it and say, why didn't we have
priority that should be met?
Yeah. So you're scheduling that time. I noticed working on those kind of things and getting that outline going and thinking of that
So
overall goal.
not only that promotional video, but I was working on some other ideas with other, I'd say some of the other industries we're looking to get in, like education. So having a promotional video specific to that with information to educate
Why
potential
you do this?
clients on what we can offer.
Very targeted for each industry, like construction and that kind of thing, and why it works and that kind of thing. Yeah. So I like that. And you and I haven't talked much about this, but
No, and I haven't started those yet. I'm just focusing on the promo, and then I'm going to get working on the other ones.
okay.
I think that would help too.
It makes us think, and I think just setting that goal of, it's attainable, 1 a month, 12 a year. I mean, that's really low, but it's attainable, right? And then you start to look, if you don't have that, what do you need to be doing on that whole month? You should be working on something. If you have nothing coming in, you need to be actively, whatever that means, advertising, reaching out to clients, follow up. We talked about some of these things that we would do in lieu of if there's not projects going on. And then that sets a habit too, I think, right? So sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's a good point you brought up. The reason I was coming up with those other thoughts of doing videos targeting different industries was for advertising purposes, because those would be great ads to throw out there that you could run on a continuous basis.
Right. And you can target construction, you can target education, you can target entertainment, outdoors.
And I have some other things written down too. So
that's awesome.
That's one thing I'm working on too with my goals, my monthly goals. I have some other ones. So it's getting our second property, picking up a client a month or a project every month, at least one. Where are the other ones? Let me pull that up real quick.
I wanted to bring something up too while you're looking that up. Yesterday we had the opportunity to go do a prairie burn, control burn. That was that was such a good time. Like,
we got to get Robert on. I wanted to talk to him about that.
It's interesting, but that was fun to go out and do that yesterday. I like doing activities or something different. We've done that twice now, but it still feels pretty new because we've only done it a couple times. But it's nice to be able to help people out.
So I didn't remember in our first meeting, I didn't really have set goals. I just had my goal as being time management, and I would accomplish these things throughout the day. So I sat and I thought about, like, what are my goals? I need to achieve something that should be a result of my time management.
Right. And so that was your base, and you built off of that.
So it was the video production, the one video project per month at least.
Right.
Oh, we need to get back into weekly social media posts and staying active with that, because we kind of fell off the wagon with that, because I know you were very invested in
May 1st
real estate and learning.
But May 1st, my not to be too negative, but it really struck me. My brother died. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of spun me. I haven't quite found my footing again. We were on target. We were doing stuff pretty really actively. And when May 1st hit, everything crumbled. So it's going back. It's coming back.
And I'm not holding anything against you. I'm just saying.
But I wanted to be honest.
As a goal, I want to get back into that. Me personally.
But I was hitting that every day.
Yeah.
Like I was.
Oh yeah.
We were doing it for everything. We were. I was giving you information that I thought you needed to be able to be educated on. About those things, and I fell off on that.
And I never brought that up. I didn't want to be pushy, because I knew what you're going through, and I wanted to give you your space. Yeah. So I put it on myself to
do some of
make sure that I'm working towards those goals too. So,
and I think that'll be good for both of us, because you're going to catch things that I don't catch and think of things, and we'll be able to maybe be better at it.
Yep.
And I think that way we'll both understand a little more what we need to do to promote and market. But I wanted to be honest. That's where I fell off. Yeah. I seen it. You know what I mean? That was when we talk about the scheduling. I'm like, it's funny how things can happen in your life that knock you off kilter, and you're like, you're going, and then that happens.
But you haven't been doing. You haven't not been doing anything.
No.
But investing a lot of time into learning more about the real estate investment.
Yeah, different loan types, and then I'm also looking at how we can grow a volume-based photography portion division off of what I've already been doing for photography for myself, but you're a part of that now. And we started looking at those numbers. So I'm doing some research on that and how do you have CRMs that take care of that and different ways to keep track of, the goal would be to build that to 1,000 students or 1,000 different individuals. And we talked a while back is I want to learn how to make condensed money. And that is condensed money. It is. So I've been doing that. So it's not like I'm not doing anything, but I need to get it. I need to get a schedule. I need to determine what I'm going to be working on. Like, what am I focusing on at what time of the day or what day of the week, and hold to that as best I can. And so I will. But I'm not doing anything. And then the other thing too, Brad, is that's part of my personality too. Squirrel, something shiny over here.
Oh, I know.
So I've really worked on that over the years and become better at it. And I think I'm doing better, but it's a struggle for me to stay focused too long on one thing. Yeah. At times, depending on the subject.
Yeah, it is hard for a lot of people. I struggle staying focused. That's one thing you asked me. Are there any struggles that you're having with time management? One thing, and I brought this up with my group with Justin and LJ, was I was struggling with focusing on specific priorities for the work schedule. So I was bouncing back and forth through different things. Like I'm bouncing to video, and then from there, I'm going to like real estate stuff, property investing, and then I'm going to podcast stuff. So I'm like scattered in that area where I want to set main priorities for that work schedule.
And then it's not just real estate too. Then it's like, we got to fix this place up. So we have to start planning on doing, so it's not just, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And how do you do it well?
Like on Monday, I want to focus on, this is just an example. Right. Instead of jumping through multiple areas of priorities in one day, focus. And Justin brought something up too. Again, he said, I think it's called the 90-91 rule.
I didn't hear that. Yeah, I don't know if I remember that.
And where you focus 90 minutes of your day on what's most important to you, the first 90 minutes of the day. I think for me, I'll switch that and make it the first 90 minutes of my work schedule.
Okay.
So focus on what's most important
for
you each day for 90 minutes each day for 90 days.
Yeah, because you got to give it time to really focus and develop. But that does make sense because people say, "Oh, I'm a great multitasker." Yeah, my ass. Anytime you're multitasking too much, something has to give. So if you're not hyper focused on one activity, you're in my head, you're not doing it. Something gives. You could be doing it better if you focus longer on a project, right? Without those interruptions. So I think that 90 minutes, that sounds very reasonable to me. Like 90, an hour.
So for the next 90 days, spend the first 90 minutes of each day focused on the single most important, impactful thing in your life. So it got me thinking, I'm like, okay, really what is most important? Because I have all these things going on. We have all these things going on. What is going to be the most important, most impactful thing?
Right. And I don't know for certain, but over the next 90 days, we might have to focus on this property so we make the right choice.
It's tough
right decision,
too, because we have multiple things going on. So it's like, now the way I'm looking at that method is putting the majority of your time into that what's most important to you.
Right.
Then everything else will fall into place.
Right. Yeah, don't overcomplicate it, but at least start doing something towards it.
Still accomplish those other goals.
Well, that's an interesting concept. I'd like to maybe read more about that and see what case studies or anybody that has success doing that or wherever you pulled that from might be interested to read a little more about that. Yeah. So those are all great things. I think, like I said, I'm very excited for you that you started doing your schedule thing because I see a benefit for that for you. And it made me think a little more strongly about it as a business partner. And I also understand the value of staying focused on something. And that has been really true this year. The more focused we've become on something and defined it, we've actually either moved the ball closer to it or we've accomplished it. And that's because we talked about it, we took action, We knew where we were going, and we knew like where that was at, right? And we'd learn about something and figure it out and do it, accomplish it, move forward, or understand, we can't do that until we do this. And there's been examples of that for us this past year, I think, right? And so that's exciting. I think being more laser focused on our schedule might help us accomplish even more this following year.
Yep.
Even if that's just personal physical well-being for myself, or for you, communication, or for us to get more revenue coming in on those other streams that we're talking about between photography, video, and real estate. And maybe we'll come up with another one. I don't know yet, but right now that's where we're at, and I'm content with that right now.
Yep.
Not that I'm not open to other ideas that are tangible assets. And I really like the tangible asset of having real estate. That's, to me, makes sense right now for where we're at financially.
Yeah, I think that'll make everything else way more easier for us.
Right. It's another thing that helps us buy back some of our time.
Don't have to focus on how we're when the next project's gonna come in.
Right.
Because all of our essentials are taken care of.
Right.
Like a roof over our head and food. Those are the two main things that everyone needs.
Yeah. And so, get enough revenue coming in so car payments are covered, and communication,
and
cell phones are covered.
Yep.
Once that happens, your overhead is very, very low.
Like you were watching something recently where they were like, have a property
for every
each expense that you have.
Yeah. And don't create an expense unless you have created the income coming in off of that, right? Off your asset. And I like that. So I've been looking at that too. I've got it over the last 3 months. I've narrowed down what my overhead is almost within $100, which I like. I know where that is at now. And I think everybody should know what their overhead is and where you can cut and use delayed gratification so you can also free up some of your time, right? And not create unnecessary expenses in your life until you have those incomes coming in. That's what I believe. And it's not about being wealthy. It's about being smart with what you have and your resources you have. So that's what I've been working on too, personally, to understand that. And I think I'm right. I think I understand where I'm at personally. And I think as a business partner, that benefits you also, knowing where I'm at financially. So yeah, I'm excited, man. The other thing I was kind of excited about, like I said, this week was able to go out, like I said, to help Robert with that burn. And he texted you and said, come out, and we helped him burn the prairie down. And one of the guys, John is his name, is certified to help with the burns. He's always interesting. Like, I didn't even know the Indians burned property to chase deer or round deer up. I had no clue that they would do that. So I always like going out and doing new things like that, because you learn. It's not about money. It's not always about business. It's not always about, making a dollar, but getting yourself into new situations allows you to open yourself up to new ideas and learning. And that John always, when you go out there, both years now, I've learned something from him, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, you never would have known that had you not been a part of that process and something new.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about doing new things. That's, to me, being social and putting yourself in those other events or doing things or volunteering your time or helping others. Like, you definitely get a chance to learn. And that's part of becoming a better business owner, a better person, I think, is being a part of those, having that kind of knowledge about your area too. I had no clue that he described where our prairies were in Ohio. I don't know about those things. I've never read about it. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting to understand that he's, that area about the natural prairies that existed. So, and
even learning about the burn itself,
yes,
the things you want to look out for, how you want to do it properly, and here's what you don't want to do.
Yeah, depending on the winds and how you start the fire.
Because a lot of people, if they were to do this without that knowledge, they would have no clue of what could happen if you didn't follow the right procedures.
Oh yeah, it can be very dangerous. Like, you can if the fires come together at a 90 or something, don't quote me on it. Like, it puts up this
the draft of air comes together, and then it creates an updraft, right?
Yeah, an updraft, almost like
creates a big
fire tornado, and
flame tornado that could go anywhere in any direction. It could go over to the neighbor's property and destroy their property. I mean, there's many
can catch a forest on fire. So you're right. So not only the history of our area that we got to learn a little bit about, or at least point me in a direction if I want to read more. then we learned about the safety of it. And then you start to understand the nuances of doing it the right way. And having somebody that has done it for years on the property to listen to them is really, to me, is interesting. I like stuff like that. So that's, it's not all about, it's about having that balance. Like I like having balance in life. And I think part of what we're doing is going to provide more balance as long as we have a good schedule and focus on things and set ourselves up to not have to work every day in a traditional 9 to 5. And that's what I want to get away from too. Nothing wrong with working for somebody else. If I ever had to do it again, I would, but I just don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. I don't want to work for somebody. I want to make condensed money and make my money work for itself. That doesn't mean we won't be working it, because we're getting dirty and fixing these places up, and we go do the video shoot and we do the edits and we, do the communications and the emails and the taxes and everything. So, we are working, but it's a different kind of work, and I think it's working. I see this last year has benefited us. So anyways, with that's long-winded a little bit, but is there anything else that you could think of that you wanted to touch on today? Or
no, I think we've hit enough today.
So. I really do. I think it was, thanks for talking to me about your schedule. I see the benefits of it. So thank you.
And I want to thank you for being patient with me.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. I'm pretty
get in my head sometimes.
Yeah, I'm pretty gruff off camera too sometimes with you. So I want to, it's interesting going through this process of starting this podcast. We are both growing as humans doing this podcast.
God.
This is not an easy process for us to do. But we are thankful for anybody that's listening. We did get a text the other day from somebody I knew, and we did a podcast about what's your why, and that individual gave us some nice feedback, and she said, I'm thinking about my why. Like, why am I doing certain things? And why are you doing?
That's cool.
Why are we doing things? We're doing things to move forward and enjoy life, and we hope other people can come along with this journey. So Brad's got us all set up with YouTube channels, and what else you got to set us up? They can email us at
there's an email, hello@ourvisionpodcast.com.
Yeah,
always forget hello.
Reach out if somebody is doing something interesting, or like the individual the other day that texted us. It's nice to know that somebody else was thinking about their why after we did a podcast. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate anybody that's listening.
Right.
And if there's one or two people, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Like to know that anyone's even listening is pretty cool. And I hope those of you that are listening are taking something from this, from what we're saying, and maybe learning new things, learning other ways of conducting business or in your own personal life.
Setting a goal or, improvement and moving forward. Yeah. So I agree with you. It's just nice to have the feedback every once in a while. So thank you everyone for listening, and FSU.
Peace out.